Crancer from Microsoft, Senior Partner Channel Development Manager for the Western United States. I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. So today we have a little bit of a different show today, and what we're going to be doing is talking with Amir Sedehi from Ingram Micro. And now Amir is coming from the perspective of providing our partners with a kind of a deep dive interview, kind of a deep dive into Ingram Micro, what it means to be part of a distribution channel, the CSP model, and it's really going to be fantastic. So we're going to be covering, why to choose Ingram Micro as a partner. So let's go ahead and move on to the next slide, which is the agenda. And I think the idea is we're going to cover about 6 or 7 different things. One is we're going to go over our thought leadership, which we do every single week. Then we're going to talk about why to choose a distribution partner. We'll get into the special guest with Amir Sedehi, which if you don't know him yet, you're going to love getting to know him. Amir is a great guy. We're going to actually go into questions from Microsoft partners. So we're going to kind of bring a different approach to this so that we can start asking him. And if you are on the call today and you are in the Q&A section of it, please, this is a time we really want to utilize this venue to ask questions to Amir, and we'd like to do that. Next, we will go into an overview of Ingram Micro, how they're using innovations as keys to differentiation, key Ingram promotions. We'll have a call to action, and then we will summarize it. So we do have a gift that we're going to be giving away today. It's a gift card for $500 from Ingram. So we look forward to being able to take a look at the people who accepted the invites, and we will be raffling that off. All right, so let's move forward to our next one. It's really thought leadership, and this is the one thing that I really want to provide to the partners. Kind of start off our week so that we can think, okay, let's get inspired. Let's think about this. And I was at a charity golf event on Saturday, and I remember this guy says, hey, let me talk to you a little bit. And it said, Sherman, I want to tell you about a Chinese proverb, and it really was, when is the perfect time to plant a tree? And I said, well, 30 years ago, because then the tree would be up there. And he goes, yeah, well, 30 years ago would obviously be the perfect time to plant a tree, but what is the next perfect time to plant a tree? And I said, well, I guess right now, right? I mean, it's kind of a leading thing, right? And that pretty much what it was. And the thing is, it is right now. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, really, it's really about, taking a look at what you're doing every day, right? And a lot of us have a lot of things that are going on in our daily life, right? And we're thinking about what we want to do a lot. We're sitting there where I don't know if I want to do this, I don't know if I want to do that. I have an idea. I'm going to be doing something. I'm going to be doing a lot more, sales and marketing. I'm going to keep my antenna up. And as you know, every week we talk about, sales and marketing into these different types of things. And I think one of the main key drivers to partners and them being successful is really just being out there, right? And it's not timing the business. It's not saying, okay, hey, I'm going to plan this out and we are going to launch exactly in October, third quarter of 2017. Well, it's not the timing that's going to make everything make or break, right? It's really more about time in the business. And what do I mean by that? And this kind of goes back to the idea of talking about creating your own luck, right? And a lot of people say, well, are you lucky? Or Sherman, you're really lucky. You're really lucky. And I'm like, no, it's not that I'm really lucky. It's that I'm putting myself in a position to be lucky. I'm creating opportunities to be lucky. And what does that mean? Well, I've got my proverbial, antenna up while I'm out every day, no matter where I'm at, whether I'm, at the dry cleaners or the car wash or at a golf event. I'm always talking talking to people. I'm always asking them questions. I'm asking them about who they are and what they do and how they do things. What are some of the problems that, the challenges they have in business? And I'm really kind of leading a lot of my conversations to kind of get to that business conversation where you can, actually get something from them where you might be able to pass that idea or lead or opportunity to somebody else. So, if you're there, if you're networking, if you're going to different, social events, anything that helps you get out there per se is really gonna put you in a good position. So it's really not timing the business, it's really time in the business. So I want to kind of tell a little quick story about thinking of different ways to work problems or opportunities. And I kind of want to, it's a personal story from when I was back at a company called Allegiance Telecom, and this was back in my I think I was my 4th year in business. And the reason why I want to bring up this story is because I want you to kind of hopefully think or think about how to look at things differently. So I was selling phone lines and internet connections, but the internet connections back then were DSL. It was about 20 years ago. And phone lines, right? Very simple. And it was the alternative to Pacific Bell. So what we would do, or what I did, is I came in and I assessed the situation, and I saw several of, about 80% of the reps, complaining about, what they could or could not do, what are the reasons why they could not, be successful. And I looked at that and I said, well, something, I think the main idea is really all about activity. I went ahead and started doing 100 phone calls every single day and telling myself, okay, my day isn't complete. And it wasn't complete if I did a deal, but my day wasn't complete unless I got 2 appointments a day. Make a long story short, I made a phone call, and I happened to talk to an organization that was a ticket broker. For concert tickets, sports tickets, and evidently we had the phone number reserved at Allegiance Telecom for 1415 tickets. That's the number. Little did I know from that first call when somebody called in and said, hey, we'd like to reserve this number. I said, well, okay, sounds good. I didn't really quite understand it. And I said, well, hold on one moment. I will get back to you as soon as I can reserve the number. So I reserved the number, and then within literally the next 30 minutes, I got 3 more phone calls from 3 separate vendors that were looking to get that actual phone number. And I thought, gosh, this is an opportunity. This is a great opportunity. How can I use this opportunity to really, help my company, help myself with sales? And what I ended up doing is I called the first one back up. I said, well, hey, thank you, no problem. Yeah, we do have that number. However, we have 3 other people. What's very interesting about this is that as soon as I said that the other 3 were involved, all of a sudden, the gentleman at the other end said, well, hey, do you like to go to the Super Bowl? Do you like, how about some cash? Would you like to have this? And I said, well, no, I can't take any of those things because that would be against my employment contract. However, if you're interested in potentially, increasing your order, we could definitely talk. So he said, yeah, I'll increase my order. I said, great, I'll get back to you. Next thing you know it, the other 2 or 3 different, vendors who are looking for this number literally said the same exact thing, which was, hey, Sherman, do you want tickets? What tickets do you want? Do you want season tickets? Do you want this? And so it ended up being a very valuable commodity. Make a long story short, what we're able to do is basically let everyone know, hey, you all want this one particular number. But in order to win the number, you need to come up with a business case that allows our company to, receive more, long-term, commitments and benefits, which ended up being, 200 to 300 different circuits that they had to order. And so it basically went from getting a phone call with one phone number and thinking, wow, this is great, and having somebody want it, to having 3 or 4 other people want the same thing, but then being able to take a step back and say, this is an opportunity to help my company really, get a much bigger opportunity, right? And so it ended up where we were able to make, top office in the region 3 months running just on my one deal because they ordered over 3 different months. But what I'm trying to hopefully explain here, or trying to hopefully help you conceptualize, is the fact that, when you take opportunities that come in, if you're in the business, it's not timing the business, you're in the business and you think differently, great things can happen to you. Right? You'll be there. You'll be in front of situations like this. I guarantee you, many of those other reps who weren't there, who weren't working, who were complaining or going to the water cooler, who are not picking up the phone, not wanting to be out there, didn't get that call. But I did, and I grasped it and I looked at it. So hopefully you can take a look at it and apply those same things. So, it's never too late. It's really never too late to start planning and then start doing business. And I think that kind of coincides with, Ingram Micro, been here. You've all heard about them, or if you're not in CSP currently, you have heard about them. And I think it's a good time to just take another glance at Ingram Micro and what they do on a compete type of scenario, and then kind of use that to figure out, okay, how do I get in business today? How do I do it right now? And then the last thing, and we do this every time, leaders do what they talk about, right? And dreamers talk about what they're going to do. So I'm going to ask you to just get off this call after today and just do it. Start doing business, start making calls, get out there, start shaking hands, kissing babies, all those different things. But be out there so that when it happens, when that opportunity will come to you, you will be there. And then people will be talking about you saying, man, you're lucky. And you can tell them, no, I'm not. I'm a leader. I do what I talk about, not dream about what I'm going to do. All right. So with that, take that. Hopefully you'll go into, next week or this next week and literally come up with something great. Email me if you have a great issue. So, why choose a distribution partner? We have a few things here. So the reason what we're going to talk about is, what we're going to learn today really is packaging, services, profitability. We want to get into, key back-end support that will enable smooth transitions within your practice. A lot of you are thinking potentially, and last week we did direct or indirect, right? Well, we're talking indirect model here, where this enables you the opportunity and the platform to be able to provision on a scale scenario. So we always talk about, hey, and be careful being just an MSP, everything to everyone. Why don't you create a package that you can scale, and by utilizing a tier 2 environment, you can do something like that. Well, we're going to talk about ISV solutions. I think this is a big thing. There's some serious margins that are going to be happening for that. We're going to talk about ease of ordering and provisioning, and lastly, the low cost of entry, especially if you're a business that's thinking about, well, do I want to get started, building my own practice or whatnot. So those are the things that we're going to be covering. We already have a couple of questions that have come in, and I want to address these real quick because I want to make sure you didn't think I forgot you. So really how does Ingram Micro handle the tier 1 customer support? And we're absolutely going to get into that. That is one of the things that a lot of us are asking questions about. Do they handle answering the phone and then hand it off? Or do they attempt to perform some troubleshooting? These are great questions. I want more of these, so please put them in here. We'll definitely answer. That was Ron Hardy. Thank you so much, and we'll get to you next. All right, so let's go into introductions. You know who I am. This is my contact information. Follow me on Twitter. One thing I do want to add is if you have not joined the Microsoft Business Channel Development Network on LinkedIn, please go ahead and go there. Microsoft Business Channel Development Network, MBCDN. All right, let's introduce a thought leader in the industry, somebody who is servicing partners, who is a brilliant person, really, in my estimation, brings a lot to the table. Amir Sedehi from Ingram. Amir, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little about what you do for Ingram and how you help partners?
Absolutely, Sherman. Thank you very much. First, I'd really like to thank you for the wonderful opportunity. It's a great show. I've been following up all these different kind of sessions you've had with these partners, and I got to tell you, all this enthusiasm and the energy I see in your voice, that's got a lot to say. Anyways, it's really a privilege to be here, and I want to thank you for that. I would like to say hello to all the wonderful partners that know me or don't know me, and I would love to introduce myself of who I am and what I do with Ingram Micro. So my name is Amir Sedehi. I'm the Microsoft Market Development Executive. What I do is that I'm responsible for the Microsoft solutions, manage the Microsoft business on the entire West Coast of the United States. Working with a wonderful team, our whole job is to make sure that we provide some kind of a wonderful customer partner experience for you guys. So I have a wonderful team that's supporting me from the inside, including channel account specialists, key account managers. We have technical experts, supply licensing, traditional licensing, And the whole team is working collectively, collaboratively to make sure that it's a wonderful experience for these partners through the whole journey that they're having within the world of cloud.
Thank you, Amir. Really appreciate that. All right, so let's go ahead and move over to what we want to get into, and that really is going to be about questions that are on the top of a lot of our partners in their minds, right? So, I think the first one is, Amir, for the partners who have not been here, I think there's a lot of ideas about Ingram. There's a lot of thoughts about Ingram. Can you possibly help us understand, who the company is, accomplishments, and where it is today? There's been a lot of, different things happening. Acquisitions, how big you are you just a local company? I think we could utilize, some more interest in that.
Absolutely, Sherman. So I really appreciate that's a great question you're asking here. So I would like to share with a little bit of history about Ingram Micro, who Ingram Micro is, where it's coming from. So Ingram Micro, it's a company that started in the year 1979. It started with two school teachers where they decided that, let's start selling and distributing technology. So they started in 1979 in Southern California and under the name Micro D. So the company starts under this name and they start reselling technology. And it's interesting that within their first year, they made $3.5 million. So there's been a lot of acquisitions happening here and there. So there was another company on the East Coast, which was called Software Distribution Services. It was acquired by a unit of Ingram, where all these companies eventually merged together. But the beauty of it was the fact that in the year 1989, Ingram Micro becomes the world's largest distributor of technology. And it's interesting that up until today, we're still holding that title. So the world's largest distributor of technology and IT services. So we have a lot of facilities around the world. We have about more than 300 different kind of locations and facilities. We have about more than 27,000 people that are working with Ingram Micro on a global level. So we have a huge global footprint and a huge global presence. And more than 200,000 customers. And it's interesting that we became Microsoft's Partner of the Year in the year 2016. And we were recognized as Microsoft's Partner of the Year, largest distributor of Microsoft solutions up until today, which that by itself, it's an unprecedented number and an unprecedented kind of history that Ingram Micro has built. We have different departments within the world of Ingram Micro, as you know, is that we have the Ingram Micro technical solutions, we have mobility, we have logistics, and of course we have the whole cloud department, which I'm sure a lot of the people that are on the call right now, they're interested to know a little more about our cloud department, which I would love to share a lot of numbers, a lot of statistics, and exactly what has been happening to this whole world of cloud once we started in the year 2007. And we've come a long way up to the year 2017, where we started with about 17 people in our cloud department. And now we have more than 1,700 certified cloud professionals, which I'm going to share with you. So overall, I would like to tell you that Ingram Micro, it's a huge company with a huge global presence, but we try to thrive every day based on the feedbacks that we're getting from the partners to become better and better every single day.
Great, thank you very much. So let's look at the next question. I think one actually came in from a partner here, and it said from Lawrence Steinert said, is pricing margin the same with all distributors? Can you handle that one, Amir?
Well, yeah, I can actually handle that question. So if we're talking about pricing and margins, it all depends. So later on, we're going to go through the whole conversation. And usually what is happening in this whole world of cloud is that we're dealing with bundles. So if we're talking about specific bundles, and if you're building bundles, we don't necessarily have to go line by line per items that you're fitting into that bundle. So therefore, you can add those margins the way you would like to add to it. But if you want to go with some like specific kind of products, let's say Office 365, of course, the kind of margins you can build is it gets a little more limited. So it totally depends on exactly how you want to be dealing with those kind of products and solutions that you want to be presenting to your end users. So if we're dealing about the bundles you generate, the bundles you make, of course, you have a lot more flexibility with the kind of margins you want to implement. However, if you want to get a little more specific, which later on we will have a great in-depth conversation about that with some products such as like Office 365, of course, the margins usually are the same all across the board.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so what type of prep work would you say would be important for partners before they do a deal? Because I know this is coming up. It's like, okay, well, customer service. So I think a lot of it has to do with preparation on the partner side, not just what Ingram is doing. So what are your thoughts on that?
Actually, the thoughts that I have, that's a great question, by the way, and I really appreciate that, because today we're dealing with a world where everything is changing so fast, so rapidly. Everything, it's evolving. So I always encourage our partners, the partners that I'm specifically dealing with, is that, you know what, you definitely have to understand the nature of the business. You have to understand your own business model. I mean, there are so many different ways everybody could be selling cloud. And there are some slides later on I would like to show and share it with you guys, that choosing the right platform, doing your due diligence, understanding exactly what your business model is, where you want to be heading in the future within the world of cloud. And as I said, what's happening with all the changes? What are some of the exclusive offers and promotions you want to be taking advantage of? So I would say the best prep work they got to do is to understand, first of all, the nature of their own business, understand how that disty, let's say Ingram Micro in particular, can help them reach to those levels, take their business from one level to the next level. And there's so many different things they have to do in advance to really make sure it's a wonderful experience for them. At the same time, us at Ingram Micro, our role is to do the hand-holding for the partner, to make sure we do as much hand-holding as necessary so that this entire journey through the world of cloud is a successful experience for the partners. So I would say, just do your due diligence, work with the disti, work with Ingram Micro, let us take care of your business and guide you through the whole experience and make sure that we bring those great results that you guys are looking forward to.
Great. Okay, so if we're looking at, help us understand really what Ingram is doing to solve partner service requests, because I think that, we're just talking about, preparation and stuff like that, but what is Ingram doing to solve these things?
Absolutely. There's been a lot going on within this. This is a question that has always been asked by the partners. And later on, I'm sure that we're going to go through some other elements that I would like to discuss with you. As you know, we were one of the first early adopters of the cloud, coming up with a whole marketplace which was really ahead of its time, which was totally very unique with all the features that was bringing to the table. So one of the things that happened throughout the time, and the whole reason that we believe we were so successful with coming up with this portal, building this whole model, was the fact that we always took those partner feedbacks and we implemented every single one of those into the whole portal that we had. So similar experience, I'd like to share it with you with regards to customer service. Every single one of the disties, especially when it comes to CSV, since it was a new movement, since it was actually a lot of changes happening, definitely there were some areas where it needed improvement. Definitely there were some glitches. There were some areas where there were some bumps on the road. One of the things we did was that constantly we brought every single one of those feedbacks into consideration. Just the same thing we did with our cloud marketplace. For some of the partners that were so dedicated to stay with us, to work with us, to make us better and better every single day. So what we did was that we took actually care of the business. We noticed that, well, these are where the flaws are, these are where the gaps are, and what are some of the things that we could do in order to improve that, to make it a better experience for the partners. So there's been a lot that has been going on. First of all, every single one of those issues has always been conveyed to the management, to those people who are in charge. They're fully aware and understanding the issue. And the other things that was done was that we acquired a third party where that company is really helping us in order to provide some kind of a unique experience when it comes to customer service and the service desk. The other thing was the fact that we also came up with some kind of a proper documentation right now these days, that we always distribute that with the partners to understand what the right escalation process is. Because in a lot of cases, solving the issue is not really a big deal. We can easily solve the issue. But the problem is the partner doesn't exactly know what is the right channel, what is the right source they have to go to. So what we do is that we have these documentations, everything documented in place, so they exactly know when there is an issue, how to open the ticket, who's the right person to go to, and how to escalate. So in this case, I believe a lot of those issues that we used to have with Service Desk in the past is resolved, way resolved compared to the past, and we're actually proud to be able to offer that kind of a wonderful service to our great and valuable partners these days.
That's a really good explanation, Amir. I really like that. And we had a couple really good comments just here. From Michael Goldstein says you can't shop on price. Ingram has a great pre and post sales team to help partners through their whole journey. I was an Ingram partner actually, Amir. I was when this all started. I think I was probably one of the first, 5 to 10 literally cloud service providers. I love the whole idea of the marketplace. Like, oh, I can add this, I can add this, I can add this, I can make this margin. Oh, this is awesome. This is incredible. So yeah, I mean, but there's always going to be some broken things anywhere you go. It's really about, understanding that Ingram is doing a great job at really identifying, some of those places. But it happens on both sides. Each partner needs to be prepared when they come in to do that. Now, there's another question that came up here, and I know we're going off script here, Amir, but you're good. So it says, I was told that Ingram Micro requires a longer, more vetted process to establish someone as a CSP with them, as opposed to some other distributors who set the partner up almost immediately. Is this reputation deserved, and is there a good reason for the vetting process? Now, I would say, number one, before I turn it over to Amir, I think, vetting every partner is a really great idea, and it makes a lot of good business sense. There are situations where, you're ordering services, so there's a monthly commitment to it. And I think that, ensuring that the partner understands the rules and responsibilities of what they do to be, in contact with a distributor, and then to work well, I think it's a good thing. Amir, do you have any thoughts or anything that comes from Ingram relating to that? Or actually, have you heard that?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that sometimes actually comes up as a question and from some of our partners. But one of the things that I can tell you with regards to the whole vetting process and with the whole experience that the partners have when they're using our cloud marketplace is, again, I would like to share a little bit of the history. And that's one of those things that, as I mentioned to you a little bit earlier, we were one of the early adopters of the cloud marketplace. And one of the things that I totally believe Ingram has to be proud of was the fact that when the whole movement of the cloud movement started, when the whole CSP process started, we came up with a cloud marketplace where it was fully automated. So it was a single pane of glass where you could easily purchase, provision, manage, and invoice cloud solutions with confidence and ease. And everything you did was fully integrated. Let's say somebody wanted to provision a couple of seats of CSP, like for Office 365. Within a few seconds, you had all those licenses live to you. So therefore, it wasn't really that kind of a process that would be like time-taking from the partners. In terms of the solutions we provided and we placed it on the marketplace, it was a full vetting process. So we started with a couple of limited number of vendors that we had, and now we're very lucky to announce that we're working with more than 36 vendors on the cloud marketplace through the whole vetting process that you just explained, Sherman. And we just want to make sure that we make it a better and better experience for the partners that we are working with on a daily basis. Awesome.
Yeah, these questions are absolutely flying in. I love it. But let's get back a little bit, because we have a time constraint here. That we could probably be here for a couple hours, but I don't know if our director is going to allow that. So what type of prep? No, I think the next one was, how do partners generate large revenue with licensing as the only product? Amir, what would you say?
Well, actually, what I think is that, unfortunately, maybe some partners wouldn't like my response to this question, but the fact is they wouldn't be able to build large revenue with only, if we're talking about the on-prem licensing. We're talking about the world of cloud these days. So CSV and bundling is the solution. I would love to discuss a little more in depth when it comes to these questions of this nature, is the fact that it's business transformation. It's a transition towards the world of cloud. So if you really want to rely your business on what you used to do in the past and just say, you know what, I can just build those healthy margins the way I want it, the way my whole, with the legacy softwares, with everything that was happening in the past before the whole CSP movement, those days are kind of gone. So I always recommend to our partners that, understand the world of CSV, understand exactly where this whole business is evolving. Take your, journey to the cloud and understand exactly what the whole CSP world is about to tell you and about to offer you. So the only way you can make those money, to make those revenues that you're really thinking of and you think is great for your business, is the way to understand the CSP model, is the way to bundle solutions. Not only go with like Office 365, leverage Office 365 as your starting point, build those bundles around that and go to market, make sure you have a good go-to-market strategy, and that's where the real revenue is coming from.
All right, yeah, so we talk about this almost every week. Packaging, that's what's important. And licensing by itself, the margins are too thin. It doesn't matter what distributor you're going to, whether, any one of them, licensing by itself is too thin, and it's really difficult to do that. So I think we kind of already answered this question, is what is the key strategy that successful partners are taking to drive big revenue? And that is, once again, packaging, putting something together that, okay, licensing is going to be good. That's going to help you establish the beachhead. But when you combine that with, let's say, the law toolbox, or another ISV, option. But Ingram has so many: hardware, software, tech support. There's just so much there. So I think that's really where it comes. Now, I think we talked about that. All right, so let's do this. Packages are the key. Thank you, Lawrence. We had one more in here. Ron Hardy did ask, how long should a partner expect to take to become a CSP after applying to Ingram Micro? How much lead time should I allow?
That's a great question. I appreciate that, Sherman. So it's a very simple process. All you have to do is you want to make sure that you already have an account with Ingram Micro. With that by itself is a very smooth process. So you can always contact me. We also have some other resources at the company. So we establish an account with Ingram Micro. If you already have an account with Ingram Micro, then just starting with CSP is easy because it's just going to take you a few seconds to get activated on this whole portal that we have called the Cloud Marketplace. And from that point on, you have the whole world, like the whole cloud world. Of course, Microsoft has always been the biggest driver of our cloud marketplace. But then from that point on, you start with a Microsoft solutions and you have access to a whole portfolio of cloud solutions where you get a shopping cart and you can just shop around. Like all you can do is to just go and pick and choose, mix and match, upsell, cross-sell. So whatever you want to do, it's very simple. So the activation of the cloud marketplace is just a matter of a few seconds. And from that point on, boom, you have everything at your fingertips.
All right, and the last one here. We want to make sure. Dovel asked, in the past, distributors required vendors to supply 10,000 units in their warehouse. Does Ingram allow for dropship, where the vendor fulfills, so vendor does not have to make the huge investment? Has that been a question that you've been asked before in the past?
Actually, this is a kind of question I've never been asked before.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a special kind of question. It's a unique kind of question that is being asked. But all I can tell you is that we do not have any kind of like specific requirements or prerequisites or things of that nature. So that is something that can easily be done. I always say for entering the world of CSP with Ingram Micro, there is no barrier to entry. There is no cost associated with that. You can just get started ASAP with as limited number of seats as, let's say, 5 seats, and then we can venture from there.
Yeah, and I think we can take that one offline, Dovel. I wanted to just kind of bring it up, let you know that we want to, respect everyone's questions. But Amir can get back to you. We'll give you your contact information. He can find out that
Definitely,
answer.
my pleasure.
Very
My pleasure,
good.
Sherman.
All right, let's get into the review of Ingram Micro. Let's kind of talk about that and see, what we're going to talk. I'll let Amir actually go through this next few slides so that we can get a better understanding. Amir?
Absolutely, I would love to do that. And so the first slide you just showed to our valuable partners was the fact that it shows a little bit of some statistics and some of the numbers. As I told you, Ingram Micro has a huge global presence. So we started in 1979 and we started with about 200,000 customers after we actually reached that whole level we wanted to reach after so many years of hard work and dedication towards the valuable partners that we have. So some of the numbers I would like to discuss with you is that currently, like last year, we had a revenue of $46.3 billion. So we have more than 200,000 customers all across the globe, and we're working with about 1,700 vendors. Just keep in mind, bear in mind that, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we are Microsoft's largest distributor all across the globe. And in the year 2016, we were recognized as Partner of the Year, we won the 2016 DISTI Award with Microsoft, which is an unprecedented award for a cloud service aggregator. Speaking of our cloud department, Ingram Micro, as I mentioned to you earlier, has 4 different departments, which cloud department obviously is one of the greatest, of course, the newest departments that we have, and we have a lot of folks working there. So we have right now at the cloud department, we have about 1,700 professionals working there. All of them are certified cloud experts and specialists. And we have a global footprint of about 36 different kind of vendors we're working in 30 different countries all across the globe. So it's a huge organization, and we'd be more than happy to be offering all those services to our great valuable partners that are out there.
That's awesome.
Speaking about the next slide, one of the things that I mentioned a little bit earlier today was the fact that today the partners, it's very important for them to choose the right platform for selling cloud. There are so many different kind of platforms that you can be reselling cloud. However, you got to be making sure that exactly what is the best strategy for you? What is the best strategy for your business model to have some kind of a successful cloud journey? As you know, we started with the whole cloud concept of the cloud marketplace, where it was a single pane of glass where you can purchase, provision, manage, and invoice those cloud solutions. However, there are some situations and instances where we're dealing with some of the partners that might say, you know what, I still want to be selling cloud, but at the same time, I don't want to go through all the requirements that's necessary for, handling a project from A to Z, such as the cloud marketplace we talked about. I don't want to be in charge of the billing and invoicing. So therefore, we have another program for those folks, which we call it the referral program, which later on I'm going to give you some information about that. Some other portals and platforms that we have, as you know, a few years back, Ingram Micro acquired 2 companies, which they're offering those platforms. One of them is called the Odin, and the other company is called NSIM. We have about 4,000 marketplaces out there, and it's interesting that out of the 4,000 of those, 3,800 of those companies are being hosted on the same platforms that is being owned by Ingram Micro. So if you're really looking for some kind of a solution where you really want to be up and going within a few seconds, just have access to the cloud marketplace, and with all those solutions readily available to you, cloud marketplace is your solution. If you want to be dealing with some scenarios where you want to have some kind of a more customized portal, if you're a global reseller, if you're a large organization, you want to have a huger, larger global footprint with more features of automation, more features of, let's say, customization, in that situation, you want to go with some of the Odin automation premium platforms that's being made available to you. So overall, I always tell the partners, make sure you choose the right platform for your business, because anything related to your pre-sales, post-sales, margin, business strategy is all related to that. And definitely one of the things that we do at Ingram Micro is to make sure that we consult, we share our experiences to see exactly where those partners are, where they want to be in the future, and try to guide them through the whole process in a very successful way. Next slide is about the Ingram Micro's cloud marketplace, and I appreciate you guys putting this up. As I discussed with you, this was the first time when we started a few years back with the cloud marketplace, invested millions of dollars into the portal, and the whole strategy was to be a master cloud service provider, to have a single pane of glass where you can purchase, provision, manage, and invoice those cloud solutions. So everything was easily, you have a very nice front end where you have access to all the live pricing, all these different kind of SKUs. On the back end, of course, you also have a lot of ways that you can customize. There are a lot of ways that you can white label. There are a lot of ways that you can control levels of access. So there's been a lot going on with the cloud marketplace. And one of the nicest things is I always mention to our partners, we started a few years back, and even for its time, the cloud marketplace that was being offered by Ingram Micro, it was very unique and one of a kind. However, one of the things that happened was that it's an evolving project. So every week, every day, we have something new to be added to this whole cloud marketplace portal. So I highly encourage our partners to always make sure that you check this marketplace, you check this portal, to understand what those new vendors are, to understand what those new ISVs are, and how you can utilize those solutions into the bundles that you're building and providing to your end users.
You know, one of the things that, if you look about scalability and performance, I think as a partner, I would buy your tier 1 desktop support, and I think it was like $11 at the time, right? And I would sell that for $60 or $100. Right, and my idea was all about like insurance, right? You know, insurance companies are getting as many policies as possible. No one policy will cover the other policies, but over time, right? If you set it up right, so utilizing that made it a really big margin, and I think that provides scalability. Would you agree?
Absolutely, okay. Absolutely. So
Perfect.
That scalability is one of those things that the partners should always have in their minds in order to make sure they have a successful business model. Absolutely.
All right, so help us understand the comprehensive, services catalog.
Yeah, so we have a comprehensive services catalog, as I mentioned to you. We started with a couple of vendors. Little by little, we started evolving into more and more vendors that were being added to our cloud marketplace, and we're still doing that. So every week, I'm just receiving some emails from the marketplace team that, so-and-so newer products have been added to it. But what I really like about this slide is the fact that consider Ingram Micro as a master cloud service provider, offering all these different kind of solutions to our partners. So once you start moving from left to right, first of all, you see all these different vendors that we're working with. And luckily, once we started with a few limited number of vendors a few years back, and now we're working with about more than 36 vendors actually that are working with us right now on these days. And we have more than about 200 different kind of solutions and SKUs that is being available on the cloud marketplace. So we offer the 24/7 support. So the levels of support and the service desk is kind of depending on what the partner is asking. So level 2 has always been provided free of charge to our great partners. Level 1, we offer that, of course, for a minimal fee. And then if it comes to, let's say, Office 365 solutions, we also offer that free of charge to our partners. Keep in mind that one of the things that partners always have to pick is they have to understand their business model, choose a right vertical, to understand what kind of vertical they want to start their business and how they want to be expanding, how they want to be actually moving horizontally with the other solutions that's available to them. So there are so many different things that I always encourage our partners to do their due diligence, to do their homework before they really want to start their journey within the world of cloud. And of course, our job here is to make sure that we make it a great experience for you guys when it comes to those solutions and those strategies.
So, Amir, let us understand, when a partner is talking to you, right? When a partner is talking to you about potentially, creating a package, and you just talked about vertical markets, right? How do they, are they, can they get some kind of pre-sale support, some consultation, from your solution specialists?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, Sherman. And I really appreciate you asking this, because one of the things I always like to mention is the fact that Ingram Micro really wouldn't be here where we are right now, but it's all happening because of the great partners that are working with us. So we always think that, our commitment towards these partners is to make sure that it's a win-win situation for everybody. Now that they've been so valuable, so nice to give us their business, we want to make sure we do as much hand-holding as possible in order to make it a successful journey toward the world of cloud, as I discussed with you earlier. So consultation definitely is a huge piece of that. I personally, whether it's myself or the team that's working with me, we offer that kind of a pre-sale consultation, and then of course a lot of support coming post-sales afterwards. So definitely first we try to understand what is exactly the nature of the partner's business. Where are they staying right now? How do they want to take it to the next level? And all right, let's say, what are some of the solutions you have when it comes to Microsoft? You have Office 365, all right, Mr. Customer, all right, Mr. Partner. Now you want to start thinking a little bit about maybe EMS, maybe you want to start thinking a little bit about your infrastructure, IaaS, maybe you want to start thinking about Azure. And let's say if you're active with every single one of these solutions, now let's think a little bit about the bigger picture, bundle. Think a little bit about the bigger picture within the cloud portfolio. What are some other solutions you want to add to it? Whether it could be security, it could be your own services. So definitely these are all the consultation services that is being offered by whether myself or whether the team that I'm working with, in order to make sure that those those successful partners that we have become more and more successful within their journey.
That's amazing. That is a great way to explain it. So let's move into, how, innovations. We've kind of made this journey from customer service to vertical markets to, kind of doing things, how innovations are key to differentiation. And I think we have a lot of choices here. And I'm not here to say any one particular distributor is the better one or the other one, but hey, let's just, open up the hood a little bit and kind of look at some of these key things that are really creating a differentiator. And I think it really comes to your Ingram Micro Cloud Store. Can you help us, just give us a little bit of background on this?
Absolutely, definitely, and I appreciate that, Sherman. So one of the ways that partners can be selling cloud, and the way that we message that when it comes to Ingram Micro, is that cloud your way. So whether you want to be selling through the Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace, whether it has to be through the referral program, which I'm going to discuss a little bit later on, or it could be a cloud store. Now, what is a cloud store? So cloud store is actually an e-commerce end user facing platform where it's an embedded URL, very simple. It goes on the portal on the website of a partner, where every time their end users click on that embedded URL, it takes them to this whole world where it's a portal where they can be selling all the different kind of solutions we have available on the cloud marketplace, in addition to some of the solutions that the partner would like to be offering. So cloud store is definitely one of those ways that people could be selling cloud. It's a mixture of what we have on our marketplace and also some of the ISVs and the vendors that the partners are working, specifically with. The beauty of the cloud store is that Ingram Micro is running everything based on the Odin automation premium platform that I discussed a little bit earlier. It's running everything on the back end, but the end user, but the customer wouldn't even notice that this whole thing is being run by Ingram Micro, and it's totally B2C self-branded online store for the partner. So every single one of their customers, they can go on this embedded URL, have access to all these different kind of solutions. And it's interesting that the partner can do a lot with it. They can generate, let's say, promotional codes. They can build their own SKUs. They can have a flexible shopping cart and a dynamic control panel. They can manage their billing and invoicing. So everything can be fully automated. And the whole concept of the cloud store is the fact that we want to make sure that for the partner, it's a worry-free back-end environment where they don't really have to worry about those additional back office costs. Everything in terms of the billing, invoicing, reporting is being fully automated and within the hands and control of the partner, which of course Ingram runs that for a minimal fee. In some instances, we might even have some flexibility to waive those fees for some of the great partners that we have, but it's a whole world that they would like to explore and start selling the cloud with this specific business model.
That's amazing, and I think the other term is really white label, right? That's you can white label your scenario B2C. It isn't something that's held behind, which I think is fantastic, right? When no one else can see it, utilize these resources. It's innovative. Now the next one. Now a lot of partners that may be on this call are thinking about, well, hey, maybe I don't want to get into all of that. Maybe I'm just I'm a telecom broker. Right, who sells or does another business, or a VAR that sells different types of equipment or whatnot, and says, I would like somebody else to do it. Then I think comes this cloud referral program. So help us understand, help the audience, help the people that are on this call understand this referral programs. I think there's a lot of merit for the right situation.
Absolutely, Sherman, and I appreciate you, pulling up this slide and providing us with the opportunity to actually introduce our cloud referral program. So, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, is the fact that some of the partners might just say, compared to the cloud marketplace that we discussed, that you're in charge of the whole project from A to Z, in charge of the billing, invoicing, and all the different things that needs to be on the front end and also the back end. The partner might just easily say, I'm interested to sell cloud, but at the same time, I don't really want to go through all those complications of what I have to do in terms of using my own administrative services. So in a situation like this, we have come up with a cloud referral program, which is very unique, and it's only unique to Ingram Micro as the only distributor that is offering this program. And the beauty of the cloud referral program is the fact that you bring your end users to Ingram Micro, and what Ingram Micro does is that we take care of everything. So from the whole conversion of those advisor seats to referral to CSV is done by Ingram Micro through a white glove service that is done for our great partners. In the meantime, we also provide that level 2 support, of course, free of charge on this program. Level 1 totally depends on whether the partner would like to take care of the level 1 support or like to leave it to Ingram Micro. And the referral program, the beauty of it is the fact that they can build some very nice margins on this program. So the margins that they're building, the partners are building these days, is that they start with 7%. We have some special promotions running that up until July of 2017, they can earn double the commission. So that's 14%. If we're dealing with a partner that's a managed partner, there's another 8% on top of that, which brings it up to 22%. So if you really want to bring those customers to us, the same way that the customers were brought to Microsoft in the past when we had the advisor model, it's exactly the similar situation that we can make it a wonderful experience for the partners, for us taking care of everything, partner's business, and for the partner to sit back, just relax and enjoy and build those margins they're looking for. And keep in mind, everything is very transparent, so the partners have access to a portal where they can see exactly every single one of those transactions, and they can have access to every transaction that is happening, what the pricing has been, all the margin that has been built, and just sit back and relax and earn those margins.
Awesome, thank you. Now, we did have a question here. Is it possible to make my ISV app available through Ingram for other partners or customers? Now, we do have our ISV showcase that we're working with. Amir, have you ever had that question come up before?
Oh, definitely. So that's, again, goes through a lot of processes that we have. There's a special department at Ingram Micro which is responsible for that. So always constantly through our networking sessions, through the shows that we have, we always have this request from Ingram Micro that, we are coming up with this app, we're coming up with this specific solution, and we would like to place that on your cloud marketplace. So definitely, please come to me, contact me, or I would introduce some other members from the team that I have, which are specifically working on that area. Of course, we have a vetting process that usually takes place, but definitely that's something that we can consider.
Awesome. All right. So let's look at two key promos that are coming up from Ingram Micro that I think are really, really important and really awesome. Can you just kind of help us quickly go through, for time purposes, the Azure Starter Kit?
Definitely, Sherman. So one of the things, since Microsoft is really going huge on the Azure program this year, we also want to make sure that at the same time, we're also helping our partners to build their Azure business in a very successful way. So one of the programs that we're running right now is called the Azure Starter Kit, where the partner invests basically $5,000 into this whole program. And as a result of that, it comes with a lot of services from Ingram Micro. Some of those services I would like to just raise is the one, for example, they get one-on-one consultation. So we have a dedicated Azure Azure specialists that can consult with the partners, sit down, understand their business, understand the nature of their Azure business. We also do like a 60-day checkpoint, where after 60 days, we always go back to the partner to see, all right, where did you start? Where are you with it right now? And also a lot of other services, whether it's technical services, migration services, and every single one of these elements, if you really want to actually consider the amount of money that partners have to invest individually for those services, it's definitely going to be way more than the $5,000 they're going to be investing into this program. And as a result of that, all those different options that you see on the slide is being offered through Ingram Micro, making sure that partners have a successful Azure experience.
So one of the partners may look at Azure support for partners. Is that part of this program? Just looking at that bullet, just in case somebody might be asking that question.
Yeah, that's a great question. And in terms of the support, it depends on, the support, of course, is a very wide term. So it has different levels of support, whether it could be that support could be one-on-one consultation, that support could be a response time of 1 hour, less than 1 hour, if there's any kind of incident, if there's any kind of technical support they need with that. And also, for example, if there's any need for migration services, partnership with NetEnrich to provide disaster and backup services, disaster recovery and backup services. So in terms of the support and all these different elements that comes with the Azure Starter Kit, there's a lot that we're offering. But definitely technical support, we're constantly providing the technical support to our valuable partners.
All right, so let's get into the next one. It's really 30 days free. This is a nice promo that's coming up. And I think I was going to take it, but hey, Amir, you're the expert, so please help us understand this.
I appreciate that, Sherman. So always we have some promos. Always I encourage our partners to learn exactly what are some of the promos that's being offered by Ingram Micro. So throughout different times, these exclusive offers and promos change. So I always encourage my great partners to understand what these current promos are. And of course, always keep in mind that we always have them offered for a limited period of time. So if you really want to be taking advantage of that, you better jump on it. So as you see, the 30 days free is that for all Microsoft CSP seats that you have it being offered on our cloud marketplace, you get 30 days of free credit. Depending on whatever value of your business is, we offer that as a credit memo towards your account. Keep in mind that it could be Office 365 CSP. Always keep in mind it has to be net new partners, net new actually customers. It could be Azure CSP, where based on the consumption for the past 30 days, once you start from the program, you get the amount of credit. It could be Dynamics, it could be EMS, it could be Windows 10 Enterprise. And keep in mind that this wonderful program is available to you now, but it's very limited. So you definitely want to take advantage of it, because once you add these margins, it can easily add up to maybe 16, 17, 18% margin on top of the 9.1% which you used to make in the past with just selling Office 365.
So wait, first 30 days free. What part of it's free?
So any kind of seat that is brought to us and they provision on the cloud marketplace, if it's a net new partner, if it's a net new customer, whatever the value of that business deal is, whatever the value of that transaction is, we offer that as a credit memo back to we reimburse it back to the partner as a credit memo for the cloud marketplace.
Now, is there a cap to that?
There is no cap.
Okay, so if I have a 10,000 seat opportunity and brought it to you.
Absolutely. If you can bring those 10,000 seats, of course, all at once, which it is possible, but it takes a lot of time, obviously.
It happens.
But yeah, it can happen.
There.
So it could be as limited as 5 seats up to, let's say, 10,000 seats, whatever the value of that deal is. All you have to keep in mind that it has to be a net new account. That's what you have to keep in mind.
Great. So now, in the event that you might be viewing this at a later date, now promotions do expire, promotions come and go, but I think this is a great one. This is a great opportunity, along with the Azure promotion. I think those are both ways that I think Ingram is thinking more of a thought leadership type of view of how do we really help our partners, not just be a place to buy, right? But more like how do we help them? How do we help them make bigger margins, right? So I think that's really great. Now, let's talk about the Cloud Summit. Now, I think a lot of partners know about it. I was there last year. I hope to come back. Hope to get an invitation. Maybe you'll invite me.
Absolutely, it's going to be.
But I tell you, it was an amazing experience. Absolutely amazing experience that I had over there. The learnings that were, delivered, really fantastic. So, please help us understand and explain, this great event.
Absolutely, with pleasure. So Cloud Summit is again another example. So one of the questions that you asked a little bit earlier throughout the whole show was the fact that how does Ingram Micro differentiate? So I used the Cloud Referral program as an example. The other thing I would like to discuss is a program that we're running, this whole networking opportunity where we call it the Cloud Summit. So the Cloud Summit, we have it running from April 19th until the April 21st. It's a 3-day focused event, and we come out with one message, that we want to make sure that we rise above and the partners get an opportunity to transform their business. So we have hundreds and hundreds of different, let's say, technical experts within the world of IT. They all congregate, they all come together in order to share their best practices, the knowledge, the experience, networking opportunities, and we have more than 90 track sessions running throughout this whole program. So every partner can really understand and say, you know what, this is the nature of the business that I'm doing, and I think so and so track sessions are the ones that are the most suitable one for me. And of course, it's a great event. It's in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's not only about work, it's also fun. They can get invited to some golf tournaments, and there's a lot of other things that's happening within this whole world. So it's I would definitely encourage our great partners to participate, because the takeaway from the show is definitely awesome. The takeaway you can have with you once you're out of the whole program is truly tremendous, and is really worth the money that they're spending and investing for that. We have great keynote speakers that always participate. They share best practices and their experiences throughout their whole journey of the cloud and all this different experiences they had in the IT world. And it's an awesome opportunity. So what I would say to our partners is just make sure you take advantage of that.
All right, let's put the slide back up here just so that the partners can see this here. Ingram Micro CloudSummit.com. Please, April 19th through the 21st in Phoenix. It'll be nice and warm for anyone who's maybe from the Midwest or the East that's being snowed in, or even for the Pac West, which is getting a lot of rain. So I think you'll be really happy with that one. All right, so let's, we got about 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left. Now, we had a question here that was unbelievable. Well, let me get the call of action first. Call to action. What is the call to action? What we need to understand here really is a few separate things. One, transform your business to the cloud model, right? We got to do that. We got to move away from being just the MSP. You want to choose the right path, right? And we talk about, Ingram is a good choice to investigate, right? To go interview, finding the right path, vertical markets, the right path. If you're already in the cloud, you're thinking about, okay, how do I expand and bundle things? Remember, licensing is great. We'll pay, but it's not a revenue, or you can't make enough revenue off of just licensing to sustain yourself unless you're doing, a million seats a year, and I think then you'd be fine, right? But you typically you can't, so you got to bundle, right? You want to leverage all of the resources that are available to you from Microsoft and Ingram Micro. You want to make sure that you're utilizing the key learning and new product solutions and deployments. This Cloud Summit, great idea to go to, because you're learning tracks. There's amazing speakers there. I was thoroughly impressed. And always remember, the opportunity is always out there, and there really is no barrier to success. And that's probably, Amir's tagline, right? But that the main thing is that there's always opportunities. You can always call up the distributor. You can always talk to them about a couple of different things. So we have some really quick questions here, and this was great. And I want to know, at one time, it says, I know at one time Dynamics products were only available via manual orders. Are Dynamics 365 solutions now available in the cloud marketplace?
That's available. Actually, that's a great question. And yes, we have that available on the cloud marketplace. And if you paid attention to the previous slide that we just showed, it's also a part of that 30-day free. So we have this whole promotion going on Dynamics as well.
Wow, that's awesome. Another one came up. George Carlisle says, does Ingram have CSP consumption SKUs in their store? I don't quite understand that question. Do you, Amir?
I guess if they can just provide us with some more explanation with regards to that question would be nice. It's a little bit.
Yeah, please, George, if you could just maybe provide a little more clarity on that. I didn't know if you had this magic answer, about that. All right, and then Michael Knight comes in with a large majority of Office 365 EMS clients are nonprofit orgs. Will the CSP program someday accommodate charity organizations?
Definitely. That's one of those directions that Ingram Micro is taking. So always we start with businesses, but definitely one of the demands we've always been having has been to be able to serve those nonprofit organizations, charitable organizations, and those kind of services. So definitely that's one of those things that we're considering, that hopefully within the near future, I do not have an ETA on that, but within the near future, it's going to be available on the cloud marketplace.
All right. Thank you very much, Amir. All right. So let's get into the summary of this hour. It's been a great hour. It's flown by. I can't believe we've already hit this hour. I think it's because we've had some great questions. Ingram Micro, they provide great tools for partners to build, revenue generating projects, practices, and that's around bundling. Packaging, we talk about this all the time. Packaging is the way to make big margins. If you take EMS with Office 365, but then you put in, tier 1 desktop support or a security scan or something that's outside of just Microsoft too, you can really increase your margins significantly. And the next one is Ingram is a viable choice, for partners who are looking to profit using innovative packaging techniques. And we talked about, the Azure, promo that's right up there right now, as well as the, new to CSP promo that's out there. So innovations, think about, vertical markets and how to do that. I don't know, Amir, do you have any thoughts on that last one?
On the last one with regards to the vertical markets, definitely. So what it's a great concept, actually, great idea that you're bringing up, is the fact that definitely you have to choose with the right vertical, you have to move in within the right vertical, and then you have to expand horizontally. So bundling and packaging, I always refer to one of the things, one of the articles that was written by one of our great friends and co-workers of Sherman, Justin Slagle. So he came up with this article that it was just amazing when everybody first looked at it and said, stop pitching Office 365. So everybody was thinking, now we're trying to sell Office 365 and somebody's out there and says, stop pitching that. Which the beauty of that whole article, once you went through it, was the fact that you have to pitch Office 365, but not Office 365 alone. So always use it as a starting point, pick your vertical, build those healthy, beautiful kind of bundles you want to build around that. Just go out to the market, have the right market strategy, and make it happen.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. So it's time here. Just, my name is Sherman Crancer, Senior Partner Channel Development Manager for the Western region. I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. You have my contact information. If you have any questions or issues or problems or ideas or anything really, give me a call. I am always accessible. I love to hear partners that have enrolled themselves in our Project Lead Gen program. I love to hear from partners who take initiative, and I will, absolutely do my best to help you out. Along here, we also have Amir's contact information. You can always get him at amir.sedehi@ingrammicro.com, or you can email me if you need to get him if we're missing here. Now we got to get down to the raffle here. Now I'm going to ask Amir to pick a number between 1 and 100. Drum roll.
Let's do it. So I would say, since we're all considered like very lucky individuals, let's call that number 77.
77. The winner is a good guy, always been on here, hasn't won before in the past, but George Carlisle, you have won the gift card. Thank you very much for joining. Hey, every week we do this. We've increase the level of our giveaway. So tell your friends, tell your partners, tell everybody, come to the call on Mondays. We look forward to seeing with you. Last thing, Amir, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. We're lucky to have you in-house. Do you have any final thought that you want to provide to the team?
I really appreciate the time, the opportunity. It was really a pleasure to be on this show, with a wonderful show that Sherman Crancer is running every week, and it's really an honor to be here. All I can tell you, just mentioned it, you nailed it through one motto that you mentioned earlier: just go out there and just do it. So you are the only one that's holding you back from success, so do not hold back. Just go out there and make it happen. Thank you so much.
Well, for the partner, by the partner, for America, thank you very much for coming. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks again.